coming in. Two quick announcements. One from Eliza, 4-year seniors, that's probably about 80 or 90 of you, and any 5-year high school students, we're doing, I guess, photograph right outside in Vogue. So immediately afterwards, the 4-year seniors and 5-year high school, so that's somewhere around 80 or 90 of you. And then I just wanted, before I introduce today's speakers, I want to just give a great note of appreciation for all of you on Community Service Day. Just give yourself a hand on an amazing day. Awesome. And in particular, I mean, it was just remarkable. I heard from so many faculty members. I've already had emails and a phone call from one of the organizations. But it's just incredible, the number of hours that we spent out there and the ways in which you reached out. But there was a team of people who really made it happen, and I want to recognize them. And there were some faculty, in particular Jeremy Clifford and Rohan Arjun and Jamela Lee and Baba Fru. I don't know if they're here, but we should recognize them for, there's Jay Lee, I see. And I know there's a risk that I missed someone, but there were a few students who were really helped in a huge way. That was Lindsay, Ben, and Alex, and Daishen. So I don't know where they are, but that group did a great job. So thank you very much. Now, I suspect Mr. Clifford will have more and maybe say something about it in the next assembly, but great work. Now, I want to introduce today's speakers, and this is a couple that I am deeply, deeply fond of, Todd McGovern and Amanda Costanzo. And they went to Taft together, although they were not, they got married afterwards. They actually claimed they didn't know each other particularly well when they were here. And their story is an amazing story, and I won't tell you much of it. I'll just tell you briefly about who they are, and then they'll take it from there. Amanda was a monitor in her senior year. She also ran cross country. She was an incredibly hardworking student. I remember her well. Todd was someone I knew well because he played varsity soccer for me, and he also played varsity hockey and varsity baseball, and was also a monitor and one of the 2 or 3 best athletes I've ever seen at the school. And he and I stayed in some touch for many years afterwards, and then became even closer when he got news that when he was age 30, he was diagnosed with cancer. And Todd and Amanda will talk about this, their battle with the cancer, and what they've done as a couple in terms of meeting this challenge. Todd said to me this morning, he said, Mr. Mack, I usually talk to different audiences. I talk to cancer survivors, men and women who are in their 60s or 70s. And will Taft students, will they be able to connect with this story? And I said, I absolutely believe they will. Not just because of a lot of the things we've been talking about in recent weeks, but let me do this. You all know, because I've shared it, that there's someone in my own life that I care deeply about who's had a battle with cancer. But raise your hand for Todd and Amanda if you either know someone who's in treatment, who has survived cancer, or has lost their life to cancer. Raise your hand if you know them, okay? You will hear from Todd and Amanda a story of I think, great courage and perseverance and ultimately service to others. And so it's with a keen sense of pride and deep affection that I introduce Amanda and Todd.
Good morning. How's everybody doing today? That's quite an introduction, Mr. Mack, and I hope I don't disappoint. It's a great day to be here. We drove up and the weather was beautiful, and Amanda said to me, God, it's absolutely gorgeous here today, and what a day. And it is, because when I was 29 years old, I was told that I have 3 months to live. That was 7 years ago. So in reality, I shouldn't be up here today speaking with you. So when any day is beautiful or rainy or windy or snowy, to me, it's a beautiful day. And as Mr. Mack said, I attended Taft. I came in as a lower mid from New Jersey. Didn't know much about the private school arena. I came from public schools. And I liked it so much that I stayed after my graduation and did a PG year. So actually, I stayed 5 years at Taft. Let me share a story with you. The first day that I was here, I pulled up to Main Circle, and everyone was in their shorts and their khakis, and everyone was chest bumping and high-fiving and talking about their summer experiences. And my dad made me get dressed up in my best attire, which was khakis and a tie and a jacket. And I've never felt so intimidated in my life. I just felt like, whoa, what am I doing at this place? I don't belong. This is a very overwhelming experience. I felt like all eyes were on me. To make matters worse, that same week I get seated at the headmaster's table, which is Mr. Odden's table at the time, and in the old dining hall, the headmaster's table was in the back of the dining hall. Well, I was told that I was the waiter that night. Now, I don't know how many of you have been waiters, but those trays are pretty heavy. And I, all 80 pounds of me, about 5 feet, tried carrying that tray. I got to the line where I had to put it, and the entire tray crashed. And the whole lunchroom started clapping, and so needless to say, I said, oh my God, what am I doing here? But after 4 years, as I mentioned, I liked it so much, I decided to stay for 5 years. So that was my Taft experience. After Taft, I went on to Colby College up in Maine. I played baseball and hockey up there. And then after Colby College, I went into the business world, into professional recruiting, in which I would help people get jobs. And I was doing very well. I was the youngest in my company at age 27 in a management level. I was being groomed for a vice president position, and I had just negotiated a multi-million-dollar contract that put my company back into the right place. While at the same time, I had just married Amanda, and we had just returned from our honeymoon. Well, 1 month later, I was sitting on the phone talking to my boss, discussing this multi-million-dollar contract, feeling on top of the world, and I got a pain in my stomach. And a pain that was out of nowhere and that was so excruciating that I had to hang up the phone. And from there, I went to the hospital. And if there are two paths, one good, one bad, everything that was being reported to me was the bad path. I laid in the hospital room, and I called Amanda, who was visiting her family down in New Jersey. I said, Amanda, you need to get back to Boston immediately. Things are not looking good. Fast forward about 6 hours later after the surgery, I woke up to a social worker of about 65 to 70 years old, and she said to me, you poor thing, I feel very sorry for you. And with that, my wife walks in, my newlywed wife of less than a month walks in, and I could see that something was wrong. And she told me that I had 3 months to live and that I was diagnosed with cancer. And what had happened is I had tumors throughout my stomach. They had to remove part of my colon. I had tumors throughout my lymph nodes, and about 28 to 30 tumors remaining in my body after the surgery. So needless to say, after Amanda had to relay that news to me, I was in shock and disbelief. What do you do now? And somebody said to me, you have two choices, Todd. You could live a little each day, or you could die a little each day. And it was at that moment that it just hit me. I'm not going to die a little each day. I'm going to live a little each day. So the path has taken me over the course of 7 years. I've had over 125 rounds of chemotherapy, 30 rounds of radiation, 5 abdominal surgeries. That the recovery process has been absolutely grueling, in which I had to learn how to walk again, I had to learn how to eat again, I had to learn how to use part of my digestive system, and it's been an extremely long process. And some of those days are very hard and very difficult, and some of those days are very rewarding. But whenever those days are hard, I think about that comment. What do you want to do, Todd? Do you want to live a little each day or die a little each day? And I think about whether it's cancer or I think about the audience here, whatever it is, whether it's trying out for a music recital or an acting performance, or doing your test. You know, you have a decision to make. Is it going to be that decision of things are too hard and I can't handle it and I can't get through this? Or are you going to persevere and overcome the challenges that are in front of you? So one of the things that we've done to promote this message of living each day is that we've been fortunate to start a nonprofit organization. My wife Amanda, while I was in one of my recoveries from the hospital, said to me, you know, we need to do something for other people that are in a similar situation as us. And my wife came up with the idea to form a nonprofit organization by the name of Seize It. And what Seize It is to promote cancer recovery through recreation. And now my wife is a very busy individual. She's a successful businesswoman. She's also my caretaker. But at the same time, she's found time in her life and schedule to help others, to help strangers. And I think the timing of our speech with the community service that you guys have done is remarkable, because I think it's the same message. You guys are very busy students, whether it's your classwork, your athletics, your academics, your extracurricular, your music, whatever it might be, but yet you guys still find time to help the local community. And I think that's a huge credit to you, and I think you guys, you know, again, deserve a round of applause for your effort for helping other people. So I'm going to bring up my wife to speak, to talk about the organization that she started. And, you know, I hope that this message hits home, because I think it's relevant to everybody in this audience today. So I appreciate it, and thank you for your time.
Well, as Todd said, it's great to be here. Thank you, Mr. Mack, for allowing us this opportunity. I wanted to start by showing a video just about really the core of Seize It and what Seize It is. As Todd mentioned, it's a nonprofit. We promote recovery through recreation. So you're going to see 3 clips. The first clip is the inspiration behind Seize It. And of course, I draw my inspiration from Todd. You know, without Todd, there would be no Seize It. He really embodies the essence of not only the school motto here at Taft, but our mission statement of Seize It. The second clip will show some events that we've done throughout the country where we raise money for our nonprofit so we can provide services to cancer patients and the caretaker. And the last clip you'll see is the very first Seize It day we had down at the beach in my hometown. And it just embodies the spirit of Seize It. So I hope you enjoy, and after the video, we'll have a little more words to say about Seize It before you can all go about your day. So now you kind of get a better understanding of Seize It and the motivation behind it, and just a few more words. Our mission statement of Seize It, as Todd mentioned, is to promote recovery through recreation. And really it's about just shifting the mind from illness to wellness. That's basically the core of Seize It. On the next slide. So Todd and I, in our marriage, we've been married almost 8 years. We've had some awesome days, extreme highs, and then we've had some extreme lows. But throughout it, it's Todd's attitude, looking on the bright side of things, whether you're in the hospital bed or on the beach in St. Bart's on vacation, just finding the positive in a negative situation. So this is Todd at Taft. As Mr. Mack mentioned, he was a superstar athlete, a stud, and he played, which is why we didn't really hang out at Taft. I was more academic. So Todd played hockey and soccer, and I played sports too here. You know, I had to play sports, so I played sports. So if you can go to the next picture. The next one. But you'll notice I'm in the front row, number 9, the only soccer player without shin guards on. So that shows you how seriously I took my athletics at Taft. I love them, but I wasn't always prepared. I never seemed to have the jersey on when I needed it on, or the shin guards on when I needed them on. And it was later in life, really, and I think by hanging out with Todd and just, I don't know, taught me to take it seriously, and I love getting out there and being active. Next one. So we have a lot of Tafties out there in the world, in Australia, in London, all over seizing it. And they've come to me and to Todd and said, how can we help you raise money? And what they do is they sign up for an event, whether it's a bike race, a run, or a triathlon, and they raise money directly for Seize It, and all of that money that they raise goes directly to a cancer patient or caretaker. Next slide. More Tafties seizing it. So we've had a really great community behind us here. This is Todd and his roommate on their graduation day, John Kennedy, and I thought it was pretty funny to find this picture. 18 years, we're dating ourselves here, but 18 years later, they just did a race in New York City. So. And upcoming, so I spoke with a couple people already, but our next events for Seize It, we're going to do 3 annual events each year. The Big Sur Marathon out in Monterey, which is so beautiful, so I encourage any of you to try it. It's hard because it's uphill and downhill, and it's 26 miles, but it's beautiful, so you're looking at the ocean. It doesn't seem so bad. The next one is in Burlington. That's a fabulous one. And then we have an all-women's triathlon in Sandy Hook that we just did. So that was a lot of fun. Next slide. And then this is the only picture I found of Todd and I when we were at Taft. So it's hilarious to me because we didn't hang out, but yet somehow I happened to find this one picture. So for those of you out there, take a look to your left, to your right, maybe in front of you. You can marry somebody that you never thought you would marry. And so it's true. I never, ever, ever thought that would happen. So on behalf of Todd, I would really like to thank you all for your attention. We're going to be here all day if you have questions or want to learn more about the nonprofit. So thank you.
That's fantastic. Listen, Todd and Amanda will be having lunch in the dining hall F block. If you want to come up and meet them or share a story or hear more from them, I think their story it's one that's meant so much to me. I find them inspiring, and I have for many years. So for them to share it with us and to show the ways in which you can take something so terrible and find ways not just to change the way you look at your own world, but also reach out and serve others, I find that deeply inspiring. It's what the school is all about. So many thanks for coming back and leaving us with that message. Thank you.